Good morning, all of you. Today we'll discuss about the coronary circulation. The coronary artery, the first branches from the aorta. The aorta arises before the arch of aorta and the root of the aorta. You can see the right coronary artery, left coronary arteries, and its distribution, its branches. The These are very peculiar. The coronary arteries look very peculiar. See, from the root of the aorta, the first branches, and the circulation blood that supply the heart, myocardium, coronary arteries that oxygenate blood to the heart. In cardiac veins, they drain away the blood from the veins. Cardiac veins drain away the blood from the myocardium, because rest of the body, especially brain, needs a steady supply of oxygenated blood. They are free of all the interruption and are required to function continuously. The center of the life, heart is center of the life, and it cannot rest. It continuously supplies the blood. That is very important. And circulation also is a major importance, not only its own tissues but to the entire body, even the level of consciousness, the brain from moment to moment. Interruption of coronary circulation very quickly cause heart attacks, in which the heart muscle is damaged by oxygen starvation. So there should not be any interruption in the blood supply to the heart. This is very vital. Such interruptions are called the coronary ischemia, and they are linked to the coronary artery disease, sometimes to embolism, which causes obstruction of the blood flow. Normally, coronary arteries do not overlap in supply, very little overlapping, and still functional anastomosis. Some anastomosis is present, but it becomes only active during the ischemic heart disease. With slow occlusion of coronary arteries, at that time it gets some time to open up the potential anastomosis between various arteries. Two types of cardiac anastomosis are present, and between arteries and veins, and between artery and arteries. Important is between artery and artery. Extra cardiac anastomosis between coronary arteries, vessels of outside the heart, and pulmonary arteries, coronary artery, pulmonary arteries. Some potential anastomosis is present, usually not functional in a healthy heart, but in case of diseases of the coronary arteries, this can become active. So this is the coronary circulation, the right coronary artery, the left coronary artery, arising from the root of the aorta, and right coronary artery traverses in the right atrioventricular sulcus. This is atrioventricular sulcus between atria and veins. Traverses through it and gives a marginal branch and runs to the posterior side and continues as posterior interventricular artery. This is right marginal branch. As it comes down through the AV sulcus, it gives the right marginal branch, and the rest which continues as a posterior interventricular branch. What is a posterior interventricular branch? It continues right coronary artery continues. What are the areas supplied with the right coronary artery? The right atrium, greater part of the right ventricle, this is the right ventricle, small part of left ventricle. especially in posterior side, and small part of left ventricle over here also. Posterior part of the interventricular septum, because it goes posterior interventricular branch, goes major branch of the right coronary artery, and it goes the posterior part interventricular septum, and major portions of the conductive system of the heart, including the SA node that is supplied by the right coronary artery. This supply is important to remember because any problem arise, where is the block, that you can derive from which area, from the ECG, which area is affected, from that you can know. So this is the, and here it will come later on, but this is the left coronary artery, and it has main two branches, circumflex branch and anterior descending branch, as you say, it is also called anterior interventricular artery. There are two branches, circumflex, there is, and this is called LAD, left anterior descending, and left circumflex. These are LAD is a very important branch because very commonly affected. The left ventricle is the key, and it supplies the key area of left ventricle. So there is LAD that can cause the problems in the heart during the ejection. A lot of things. This is very common. The LAD, left anterior descending. This is left anterior descending, and those goes behind. That is called left circumflex artery, LCS. This is the left main branch, left anterior descending, and left circumflex is not seen here. And another on the left side branch is left diagonal branch, that anterior wall of the left ventricle. And sorry, left circumflex, two main branch, left anterior descending, and this is left circumflex. And this we have seen here. This is the left circumflex branch. This one goes behind, and this is anterior descending. So this is the left anterior descending, the circumflex branch. And from anterior descending, a diagonal branch is given. The other part, there is the anterior septum, an anterior part of the left ventricle supplied by this, and diagonal branch supply the anterior wall of the left ventricle. And the circumflex branch, the lateral wall of the left ventricle, the circumflex branch. The right coronary artery, the SA nodal artery, AV nodal artery, initially it gives this. You can see this, it gives to the SA node and AV node, it supplies, because it supplies the entire conductive system of the heart. And the right ventricle and the branches of this is the, it supplies the right ventricle, it gives the marginal branch, then gives the posterior interventricular artery. This is the anterior view, the anterior side, the left circumflex branch, the left anterior descending, and after some time the anterior descending gives a diagonal branch. So this is, thereafter it is called left anterior interventricular branch. Left anterior interventricular branch. So left circumflex, and the also left anterior descending, main two branches, and circumflex gives the diagonal branch in between. And also some left obtuse artery, it is shown here, anterior side, and the then anterior, after it gives the diagonal branch, that is anterior descending, becomes the left anterior descending artery, or then the interventricular artery it is called. Right side, it gives to the SA node and AV node, right ventricle, it gives the right marginal artery and continues with the posterior. This is posterior view. This one, obtuse artery, is common entry. This is the left obtuse artery, then is circumflex artery. From there, the obtuse artery arises, circumflex branch. Then the right coronary artery is the inferior interventricular artery. This is the right, whatever is the right posterior, This is the posterior interventricular artery. This is posterior interventricular artery after giving branch to the right marginal artery. And this is the same thing, interventricular artery, that is posterior, and again when it goes beyond that it becomes posterior interventricular artery. The inferior and posterior interventricular arteries is from right coronary artery. So this is the same thing is shown here. The left coronary artery gives anterior descending and circumflex branch. Anterior descending is diagonal branch, and then the continues as the left anterior descending, then interventricular artery, anterior interventricular artery. These are the minor branching. The left marginal arteries M1 and M2, and D1, D2 is the diagonal arteries. In the right side, right coronary artery, then it gives a marginal branch, right marginal branch over here, and it supplies to conductor system, and ultimately it becomes the posterior descending artery, this one. So posterior and inferior area of the ventricle is supplied by the right coronary artery. In the right coronary arteries supply blood to the myocardium and other components of the heart. Two coronary arteries originate from left side of the heart, beginning the root of the aorta, that is the near the left ventricle. Aortic sinus is dilatation of the wall of the aorta, superior to the aortic seminal valves. The area where the coronary rise, that there are three aortic sinuses. These are the dilatations of the wall of the aorta, and it is just superior to the aortic seminal valve, after the seminal valve. So it is called aorta. Two of these left posterior aortic sinus and anterior aortic sinus that give rise to left and right coronary arteries, respectively. Two sinuses which are left posterior aortic sinus, from there the left coronary artery arises, and one anterior aortic sinus from the right coronary artery arises. The third sinus, the right posterior aortic sinus, typically does not give rise to a vessel. Coronary vessel branches that remain on the surface of the heart and follow the sulci of the heart are called the epicardial coronary arteries. The left coronary artery distributes blood to the left side of the heart, left atrium and ventricle, the interventricular septum, the anterior side. The circumflex artery rises from the left coronary artery and follows the coronary sulcus to the left, as we have seen here. Goes to the coronary sulcus to the left side. Eventually, it fuses with the small branches of the right coronary artery. Lastly, the larger anterior interventricular artery, also known as the left anterior descending artery, LAD, this is very significant, is second major branch arising from the left coronary artery. It follows the anterior interventricular sulcus around the pulmonary trunk. Along the way, it gives rise to numerous small branches. They interconnect the branches of the posterior interventricular artery, and that forms anastomosis. Anastomosis is an area where the vessels unite to form the interconnection that normally allow blood to circulate to region even if there is a partial blockage in another branch. Anastomosis in the heart is very small. The potential anastomosis that are usually working physiological condition. The ability to somewhat restrict and short the coronary artery blockage. That's why it often results in myocardial infarction, causing death of the cell supplied by the particular vessel. The right coronary artery proceeds along the coronary sulcus and distributes blood to the right atrium, portion of the both ventricles, and the heart conductive system. Normally, one or more marginal branches arise from the right coronary artery inferior to the right atrium. The marginal artery supplies blood to the superficial portion of the right ventricle. The posterior surface of the heart and right coronary artery give rise to posterior interventricular artery, also known as the posterior descending artery. It runs along the posterior portion of the interventricular sulcus toward the apex of the heart, giving rise to branches that supply the interventricular septum and portions of the both ventricle on posterior side. The same thing on posterior side, the view, the the left coronary arteries. This is the right coronary sinus. This is the inferior vena cava. This is the posterior interventricular artery coming from the right side, and these are the veins. This is coronary sinus, big one, and the right coronary artery giving a posterior interventricular branch. This is the middle cardiac vein. This is the left circumflex artery, and this is the marginal artery on the side. Right atrium, left atrium. This is the these are the seen from. This is the posterior descending interventricular artery, or from the right coronary artery. What happens? The posterior interventricular artery, we say, this is the one. This is going in this way. From this side, going this way. Which means NS is the left, whatever is come. This is the left marginal, left anterior descending. From the left side, it arises. This is left circumflex, and this ultimately comes here. This is the right marginal artery. The anastomosis is between the two, sometime here. You see. The right side is supplied. Yellow is the right side. The red is the left side. Some anastomosis you can see in between. Here. This is the area of the heart is supplied by the left. This is by right coronary artery. There are some anastomosis between the branches of the two coronary arteries, where the coronary arteries functionally and arteries. So there is no anastomosis at the early. As I told you, these are the branches, the aorta left coronary artery from the sinus, which arises left main coronary artery, LMCA. It gives branches to left circumflex and left anterior descending, LAD, left circumflex. Circumflex arises obtuse marginal artery 1, obtuse marginal artery 2, OM1 and 2. They arises from the left circumflex. Left anterior descending diagonal 1 and diagonal 2. The branches of the left anterior descending. Right coronary artery gives the AV nodal branch, right marginal branch, as you have seen, posterior descending artery, as you have seen, posterior lateral artery, PL1, and posterior lateral, another one. So these are the branches from the right coronary and left coronary arteries. The same thing we have seen, circumflex, this is the marginal, and then becomes interventricular. Same thing which we have seen. And these veins are vessels that remove the deoxygenated blood from the heart muscles are known as veins. They include the great cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein, the small cardiac vein, the smallest cardiac veins, the anterior cardiac veins. Cardiac vein carry blood with a poor level of oxygen. Myocardium, from the myocardium to the directly in the right atrium. Most of the blood in the coronary vein returns to the coronary sinus. The anatomy of the veins of the heart is very variable, but generally is formed by following veins: the great cardiac vein, the middle cardiac vein, small cardiac vein, and the posterior vein to the left ventricle, the vein of Marshall. The Thebesian veins, which are directly open in the chambers of the heart. These are relative end arteries. as I told you. Functionally, they are not very active in physiological conditions. And there is some atherosclerosis common problems which arise. Dominance of the artery. eh, Either of the two may be dominant, but usually the right coronary artery, whoever supply the posterior descending artery, usually the right coronary artery is dominant. That means more blood going 67% in the right coronary artery in this case. But not always, it is very variable. But usually right coronary artery may be dominant, sometimes left may be dominant. The posterior descending branch is supplied by the circumflex, left circumflex branch of left, then the coronary circulation classified as the left dominant. If the posterior descending artery is supplied with the right coronary artery, then this is classified as the right dominant. 70% general population are right dominant, 67%, and 20% are co-dominant, and 10% are left dominant. The precise anatomical definition of dominant would be artery which is supplied to the AV node. Most of the time, AV node is supplied by the right coronary artery, so it is the dominant artery. Pupillary muscles attach the mitral valve, left atrium, left ventricle, tricuspid valve. So this is the another thing which we not go details on these things. Most important. Now let us see the characteristic of this. Characteristic of the coronary blood flow. The most important characteristic of blood flow is the phasic flow of blood. More during the diastole of the ventricle against all other tissues. In all other tissues of the body, the main blood supply is during the systole of the heart, because at that time the blood pressure is more. A lot of blood is coming from left ventricle to the aorta. So the main perfusion of the organs is during the systole, but it is reversed in heart, that the main perfusion is during the diastole of the heart. You can see this. This is called phasic changes in coronary blood flow. What are the typical phases you can see? This is coronary blood flow. Usually it is about 250 to 70 milliliter per minute, and it suddenly decreases during systole, becomes 100 milliliter, and it increases during diastole, greatly increases during diastole. And that is, it goes up to 300 milliliter. So this is the very important characteristic. The blood through the coronary artery is not constant. Decreases during systole and increases during diastole. The intramedullary arteries supplying the myocardium are perpendicular to the cardiac muscles. So during the systole, intramural vessels are compressed and blood flow is reduced because the lot of pressure, intramural pressure increases. That squeezes the artery. So the left ventricle is the maximum pressure in the whole body, even more than aorta. So the arteries does not have that much pressure which left ventricle has. So the lumen is compressed during the systolic phase. This is very important phenomenon. In diastole, the compression is released. The blood vessels are distended, so the blood flow increases during the diastolic phase. Resting coronary blood flow is about 225 milliliter per minute, and coronary flow increases proper to exercise or work output. Phasic changes in this is the systolic phase, 225 resting level. This is 225. Then and during systolic phase, it suddenly decreases. Goes very little, even below 100, goes about 50. During all systolic. And diastolic, it suddenly increases, goes up to the 300. This is diastolic phase. So, this is a very important phenomena. This is aortic pressure and coronary blood flow. Although aorta gets more blood during systolic phase, but the coronary don't get, because the pressure does not allow intramural pressure. So when the aortic pressure is less, say 80 millimeter mercury, then in that coronaries are mainly fed. coronaries get blood during this phase. This is the pressure, left ventricular pressure, and this is left coronary artery pressure. Left ventricular pressure, you can see. In the aorta, it is here it crosses, it is aorta just near it. But in the left coronary arteries is significantly below the pressure of the ventricle. Coronary aorta pressure lies here. It is significantly below the aortic pressure. So these left coronary arteries. And so the left coronary blood flow suddenly decreases in systolic phase. Relative part of systole is some increase then but main blood flow during the diastole. So coronary blood flow to the left ventricle during the systole, during the contraction, myocardium produces throttling effect on cardiac arteries. During the isometric contraction phase, completely stops because there is sudden rise of blood pressure. Sudden rise of intraventricular pressure. In the isometric contraction phase, completely stops the flow. Here also you see, they completely stop the flow. This is isometric contraction phase. The isometric contraction phase between here and here, between the closure of AV valve and opening of the seminal valve. This is isometric contraction phase. The blood flow in the left ventricle suddenly completely stops almost. So this is the complete stop during isometric contraction phase. Then the phasic flow, same thing we have seen. Same thing, any other, the left coronary artery, this is left coronary artery, the flow, being systole very little, diastole main. But right coronary artery, there is a pressure in the right ventricle is less comparatively. And pressure in right coronary artery, because it's supplied to aorta, it is more. So right side, you will see significant flow in the systole also, but also it gets sufficient blood supply in diastole. So this is mainly true in the left side, left coronary artery. Right coronary artery, because the right intraventricular pressure is not so very high, so it does get some supply during systole and also diastole. The most important characteristic of coronary blood flow is the phasic flow of blood, more during the diastole of the ventricle as against all other tissues of the body. It is very important. This is the we have seen how the blood is supplied to the coronary arteries. Now let us see the autoregulation. It is about 250 to 270 milliliter is the coronary blood flow. Now let us see the regulation of coronary blood flow. This is the autoregulation. Autoregulation is the most important characteristic of coronary blood flow. Heart itself decides how much blood it should get. So this is autoregulation. That is regulated by following factors according to their importance. The most important is the oxygen demand. 70-80% of oxygen is absorbed from the blood. That is the extraction of oxygen from the arteries. That is artery-venous oxygen difference in maximum in coronaries. If you get kidney, the artery-venous oxygen difference is very less. Here the oxygen is the maximum in the whole body. So because it extracts great amount of oxygen from because it's constantly working, constantly needs it. This is a very important factor. The oxygen demand is most important factor which autoregulate the coronary blood flow. Because anytime oxygen demand increase, this coronary blood flow should increase. The first important factor is the oxygen demand. Second is the metabolic factors. The release of metabolic products during the hypoxia resulted in vasodilation. What are the metabolic products? They are mainly adenosine. So what happens when there is a more oxygen need? ATP is converted into ADP and one high phosphate bond. But still there is a more demand, some hypoxia is there. Then ADP is converted into AMP and high phosphate bond. Another energy is released. But still there is a lot of oxygen demand. So what heart will do? Then AMP, adenosine monophosphate. AMP will be released into adenosine free radical and high phosphate bond. All reserve is in ATP is depleted. All high phosphate bonds are removed. And then you get the adenosine free radical. That is very important. That when adenosine free radical is available in the myocardium, that means there is a great hypoxia. And that is a potent factor which bring about the vasodilatation, increase the blood flow to the coronary artery, and so the hypoxia may be removed. Then the other factors which are also released when there is hypoxia, there is a potassium. Potassium generally inside the cell, but there is hypoxia, more will come out the extracellular fluid. Then hydrogen ion, because in tissue when more active, it releases the hydrogen ion. And when CO2 also releases at the end production metabolism, and adenosine compounds as I told you. So these are the metabolic factors. First is oxygen demand, second metabolic factor. It produce the vasodilatation and increase the oxygen supply. And third one is neural regulation. Neural regulation in other cases sometimes it may be some other organ is very dominant factor, but it comes third here. Uh, Coronary blood vessels have the autonomic nervous supply, especially the sympathetic supply is there, and it can if they constrict the vessel, there is a mass sympathetic distribution. That is direct effect is constrict the coronary arteries. It looks that it decrease the coronary blood flow, but there is dominant indirect effect. The sympathetic stimulation causes increased cardiac activity, increased force of contraction, increased heart rate, increased end progression metabolism. Most important is mass sympathetic is not written here. Mass sympathetic stimulation causes the vasodilatation in non-vital organs like skin, like kidney, intestine, everywhere. And that diverts the blood toward the vital organs like brain and heart. But in heart there is a very feeble sympathetic constriction. In other organs there is a massive constriction of the vessels. So relatively blood flow to the heart is increased. And there is no in brain there is no vasoconstriction. There is no supply to the arterioles of the brain. So the brain gets full supply. Next is heart. There is little constriction, but the most of the vessels of the body they are profoundly constricted. So blood is diverted toward the brain and heart. So there is the indirect effect. Local muscle metabolism and primary control of the coronary blood flow. That is the main thing. Primary control blood flow is the local muscle metabolism. Blood flow to the coronary system is regulated mostly by local anterior vasodilatation in response to nutritional needs of the cardiac muscle. Arteriolar vasodilatation. Local arteriolar vasodilatation responds to the nutritional needs of the cardiac muscle. That is, whenever there is vigor of cardiac contraction is increased, the rate of coronary blood flow also increases. The local regulation of coronary blood flow is similar to that occurring in many other tissues of the body, especially in skeletal muscles. So what are the most important factors? First factors which increase the blood flow in coronaries or regulate the blood flow is the pressure in the aorta. The diastolic pressure in the aorta must be maintained, then only blood will flow. Then there is a chemical factors in the myocardium, the neural factors, and ultimately the autoregulation. These are regulated by autoregulation, and under these there is chemical factor and neural factor. The abnormal changes in oxygen demand is the heart regulates the amount of vasodilatation, vasoconstriction coronary arteries based upon the oxygen requirement of the heart. These contribute the filling difficulties of coronary arteries. So failure of the oxygen delivery caused by decrease in blood flow during the result in ischemia, and that ischemia causes all the metabolics to release. But it is known as we sometimes a chest pain occurs that is called angina, and there is a severe deficiency of oxygen, then it causes the death of the cells. This is called myocardial infarction. The, the chemical factors which is most important: lack of oxygen, increased concentration of CO2, increased local concentration of H ion, increased local concentration of potassium ion, increased local concentration of lactate, prostaglandin, and most important adenosine radical. The adenosine is a very important, powerful, important coronary dilator that mediates atrial. I told you. And another is nitric oxide. That is a powerful vasodilator. Blood flow in coronary artery usually regulate almost in proportion to the oxygen needs that we have seen it. And this is the myogenic control, same way. This myogenic control and neural. I told you what is the effect of sympathetic. Parasympathetic, very little supply in the coronary does not have much effect except when parathery it depresses the when vagal is stimulated depresses the direct effect is SA node. It decreases the heart rate. By indirect effect, blood flow, sympathetic storage increase heart rate that I told you. It is the same thing. Tachycardia shortens diastolic time during which coronary fill with blood. Therefore, the very much tachycardia is it causes ischemia. Heart rate, excess in heart rate, decreased diastolic period, decreased coronary blood flow that causes the decreased coronary, ultimately coronary blood flow is decreased. Local muscle metabolism is a primary controller of the coronary blood flow. In the myocardium, the coronary consumption is 8 meter per minute in 100 gram tissue. 70% of oxygen, 70 to 80% of oxygen extracted from each unit is compared to other tissues. In other tissue, only 25% of oxygen is extracted. That is arteriovenous oxygen difference. Here it is 70 to 80%. So when you want to increase it, there is no chance of more extraction. So the features blood flow 250 milliliter, 4 to 5% cardiac output. Uptake rate is 65, 70% to 80%, as I told you. So left coronary artery may be affected. This is the same thing. This is the oxygen demand and addition radical. They are the key. So because extraction is very high, so what will happen? Because the heart muscle has more mitochondria. That's why what is the 40% of the space of the mitochondria, 40% space of the cell occupied by mitochondria only. That's why this gas generates by aerobic metabolism. So extraction is very high. Arteriovenous oxygen difference, 70% about the extracts. But when the oxygen more is needed, like exercise, the oxygen can be increased only by the increased blood flow. Extraction is the may retain its limit. That is a mechanical factor, that is the left ventricle during systole intraventricular compresses. That is, I told you, the phasic flow, the metabolite hypoxia, adenosine and other radicals, CO2, acidity, potassium ion, lactic acid, the dilators and neural factors, alpha constriction, beta cause dilatation, autoregulation, role of metabolites, these are all we have seen. This is what happens in exercise. Myocardial oxygen demand increases, though myocardial blood flow directly increases. And then after some time, because it has got limit, demand increases, but the supply does not increase accordingly. So it causes flow impairment, that is ischemia. This is ischemia. Sympathetic nervous system, alpha receptor, vasoconstriction and rest, beta receptor, vasodilatation, intrinsic metabolism modifier increases accumulation of CO2 and acts directly with skeletal smooth muscle. So this is the abnormalities we see in the next class. coronary artery disease, myocardial infarction, cardiac myopathy, and many other can occur. Thank you very much for your attention.